And we'll get started. So you guys are going to be utilizing CopyLeaks all through your D2L Brightspace integration. The first thing you're going to want to note is we do not directly integrate with D2L Brightspace assignments. So in order to create assignment with CopyLeaks, you're going to be going under Content and then using our functions under Existing Activities. Okay, so it's going to be Content and then Existing Activities, and under this drop-down menu, you'll see a couple different options. You should see the assignment feature, teacher scan tool, and our assessment overview that I'll speak about in a second. So this is where you'll access us. This is one that I've already created that we'll go over in a second, but let's click on the CopyLeaks assignment to see what it looks like when you're adding a new activity. So here you have your general assignment title and descriptions. You can add an attachment for students or an answer sheet for instructors. Then you're going to have your general settings here. You can allow multiple submissions, allow submissions after the due date. Allow submissions via text editor means that you will allow students to just copy paste text into a text box rather than uploading a file. And then we get down to our CopyLeaks scan settings. So the first one, I should say, the last one on the bottom is add to gradebook. This is going to default to on. This is going to create a gradebook option, and you will be able to grade directly in the Canvas report, the CopyLeaks report. So that's super helpful. Then you have the option to expose the originality report to students, meaning you want them to see the report. If you don't, you'll keep that off here. And then schedule means when do you want the report to be available? Do you want it upon submission as soon as they submit or at the due date? That is totally up to you. And then when we get into the nitty-gritty of the CopyLeaks settings, we'll click into Scan Settings here. So this is the CopyLeaks scan setting page. Some of them may be locked by your admin. You'll see that little lock with a preview. That just means that they've decided to lock it at the institution level. Everything else you should be able to turn on and off besides the writing assistant. You guys have not purchased this feature, so you'll just see a little crown next to it. The main features that you guys are going to be using are AI content detection and plagiarism detection. So AI content detection could be a lot of different things. There are a lot of AI tools out there. So just keep in mind writing tools such as Grammarly or Google Translate could trigger an AI score. So it's important that you and your students are on the same page as on what's allowed and what's not. Very soon, we'll have the ability to change the sensitivity of the AI detector. That's coming for LMS in just a couple weeks. It's going to default to like a middle range, and then there's going to be a level 1 or level 3 option that you'll be able to move it to. So it'll start off on that base level, and you'll be able to move up or down the amount of AI you want to be flagged. So that's coming in just a couple weeks, and you'll see a sensitivity option. Plagiarism detection, we have 2 different types of sources you could see. Repository, don't worry about that one, so you'll just see these top 2 on your screen. Online sources is going to be anything publicly accessible on the web. That's not going to include things behind a paywall or you need an account to access, but everything else will be accessible under online sources. There is the option here to type in a domain you want to include or exclude. That is totally up to you. Otherwise, it's going to default to all. And then the other type of source for plagiarism is the internal database. That's our user-submitted document base. So it's going to be within your school as well as outside of it. Other schools, website users, or business users. It's all going to funnel into the same place. So it's a great resource to have in order to see results against the database. You're going to need this on. But keep in mind, you'll see this little blurb here. Opting in does mean your content will be saved. So if you do not want your content saved to our database, you'll turn this one off. Under filters, there are 3 similarity levels or levels of plagiarism that could appear. You can turn 1 or 2 of these off. Identical is going to be locked because that is the most severe form of plagiarism. and then it goes down from there. So minor change could be maybe a couple words have been changed. Paraphrase going to be different words, but the same meaning. Results calibration, I recommend keeping it on focus. You'll see here best for plagiarism versus max result, best for copyright infringement. Focus results just going to limit the amount of results you receive. It's only going to show you the ones that are most relevant with the highest amount of similarity. Max results going to show you everything. So if you're using CopyLeaks to make sure no one is using your content or publishing it elsewhere, you'd want to see max results. So that's just the difference between these two. I'm going to skip over cross-language because that's also an additional fee. But if there are any world language teachers on, just know that you will be able to use CopyLeaks in the same manner. We do operate in other languages. So if you are teaching a Spanish course, for example, you can upload text in Spanish and we will look for Spanish plagiarism as well as AI. Finally, under plagiarism, we have our security measures. So I recommend keeping these on. Safe search is going to eliminate any inappropriate content from appearing. So that's going to be adult or violent. Hide sensitive data is going to hide any personal information that could be found on the student's submission. So that could be a driver's license number or a phone number or an email address. And then finally, a character manipulation is going to be an alert you could receive if a student has changed the text to make it look original or try to trick the system. So a student might take text from ChatGPT, for example, and try to make it look like it's human text by adding in additional characters or changing characters to another language or alphabet in order to make the text look original to the detector. So if we find one of those tactics, we'll give you a little alert. Next, we have omit. So this is very straightforward. If you don't want specific types of text, say a direct quotation or a reference page, to be scanned by CopyLeaks, you want to omit it from the scan. You check those boxes here. So it's going to omit it for both AI and plagiarism detection to make sure the student is getting an accurate score. Similar to that, we have an exclude template function on the other side. So if you've given students a rubric, a list of questions, or a template that they're going to be using, you'd upload that blank template or list of questions here in order to tell CopyLeaks to omit that text from the scan, again, to make sure their score is as accurate as possible. And finally, on the top here, student privacy settings. So you can decide to show the student the report, but you can also put limitations on that. So an example of that is disable database view for students. If you turn that on, that means you don't want students to see other classmates submitted documents or any results that come from our internal database. Similar to that, we have student moderation. If you decide you don't want students to see their AI score, for example, you'd uncheck that box, and then we're only going to be showing you the other portions of the report if you are a student. So any questions? I don't see any in the chat. Any questions on what I'm showing on this page before we move forward? I know we had some latecomers, so feel free to come off mute for a second if you have anything. Good question, Carly. So if an assignment is already created, there's unfortunately not a way to add CopyLeaks to that because we don't directly integrate with Brightspace/G2L. So you would need to create a CopyLeaks assignment, so copy over that content to use CopyLeaks. If you don't want to do that, you can also download the submissions you have and use our teacher scan tool, which I'll show you guys that in a second. So there is another feature. If you just have text to upload, submissions to upload to CopyLeaks and get a report, you can do that as well.
Lena, at this time, I will jump in to say I'm sharing in the chat a how-to guide that's specific to SIU that we've created that will highlight that limitation, as well as the two tools, the assignment tool and the instructor tool, with some of our recommendations based on, our specific user experience. So sending that now. And
Great.
we'll send it again at the end in case someone joins later.
Perfect. Thanks, Craig. I see another question in the chat. If a person pastes something from ChatGPT into a document, can it still be detected? Absolutely, yes. So they're using it within, if there's human writing and AI writing, we will be able to highlight just the AI writing. Same thing if students are using a text spinner or another type of tool that takes, let's say, ChatGPT writing to try to humanize it, we'll find that as well. So we will be able to detect that, yes. Any other questions before we move forward? Okay. So I'm just going to save these settings here and I can go back to D2L and finish submitting my assignment. This is what it's going to look like when you have the assignment already submitted or made live, I should say, published. And then I can click into this one here and review submissions.
I just want to add here that the title CopyLeaks LTI 1.3 could be the name of your assignment, just so everybody's clear about that.
Yep, so this is just my demo. You'll see here a list of the students, and if they have a submission, you'll see a preview of the scores. You can put in a grade here and view the report. You can also have a link to our analytics page. So you can click View Analytics if you want to review analytics for this assignment, for a specific student, or the entire course. So we'll go over that in a second. I do see a hand, so Sean, go ahead.
Yes, I had a question. Does that CopyLeaks does it have to be in the title or
No.
it can be in the title? Okay, because I
Nope.
know with like other respondents, it's in the title for like a test or whatever, so it doesn't have to be.
Definitely doesn't have to be, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm actually going to go back 1 second and show you guys a different report here to include our newest feature, our AI assessment. So I'm just going to go into a different report here. Okay, so there is a updated one here. So I'm going to click into this submission here and click View Report. At the top of the screen, you'll see our newest update for grading and feedback, where you can provide a comment to the student. So if I want to leave a comment, I can highlight some text, click the Add Annotation, and leave comments for the student. You can also leave general feedback if you'd like, and edit the grade or view the next submission if there are others under the scan. So it's a really awesome new feature where you can have conversations with the students, provide feedback, all within the CopyLeaks report. There's also, next we have our matching, so that has to do with plagiarism. This one here is showing minor change in light red and then paraphrased in yellow. I'm going to take out these filters here and you'll see identical text is in red. You'll see 2 categories of match results, internet and internal database. I can review the different domains. Click into this one and see where the student might have taken some text. I'm using these arrows up here to go down to next match, but I can also just kind of click through whatever is most relevant to me. So whichever way you'd like to use it. The other type of source is our internal database. So you'll either see your files, meaning from within your organization, or other files. Your files, you're going to see some information regarding who submitted the text, course name, assignment name, the user, the date. If I go into other files, you won't see that type of information. You're only going to see the identical text. So now I've clicked into a different one where you see the pop-up to protect our user data. We mask internal database results from outside of your organization. So I can read this identical text here. Everything else, though, is going to be blurred out for that writer's protection. So again, that's under your, that's other files. And then your files will look like this. It's going to look a little different. Just checking the chat here. Yeah, definitely go ahead and follow that SIU guide on how to create CopyLeaks assignments or updating new ones. I'm not totally sure. I understand the question. Is SIU CopyLeaks version I am using similar to the subscription-based copy? Oh, okay, I got you. So if you were using CopyLeaks website, the report's gonna look very similar. You're just kind of gonna access it in a different place because it's all through D2L. There is one feature, the AI sensitivity settings, that is live for our website and not live for LMS, but this grading and feedback feature is only available on D2L. So it's going to look the same model powers it, just some slight differences in the reporting. I'm going to move down to AI content here. This one is 0. There are some resources that show you more information about AI FAQs, bringing AI into the classroom. But I will go back to AI in a second with a different report to show you some actual AI insights that we have. Any questions on the grading and feedback, how to add comments, or utilizing the match text score here? Okay. One thing to note, you can exclude or filter out results. So you'll see 4 have been excluded from a previous demo. If I want to go in and exclude this Quizlet result, I can click on more options and exclude here. I can also use this filter to filter out different match results. So I can filter out by source type, by match type, specific tags, or put a minimum words per result, meaning I only want to look at results that have, say, 100 words matching or more. So a lot of customizability that you do have here. Okay. So that's what it looks like on the assignment side of things. You'll notice view analytics at the top here. So if I want to review the analytics for this assignment, I can click in here. I can review the scans that have been submitted. I see a list of the students' names with their scores here. And I get a plagiarism results overview. So I could see where they're getting their results, the most common internet sources, as well as kind of an overview of the submissions here at the very top. If I want to, I can click into a specific student and review the student level analytics. You'll see this student has submitted 8 scans to my course. 3 of them have had matched text, so plagiarism, and 1 has had AI. You'll see at the bottom all their different submitted documents. So you can see what assignment, what course. So in this case, I am the teacher of 2 different courses, so I can see here that they've submitted to another one as well. And I get their scores, and again, their most used internet sources. So just more information that you have accessible to you. You can also click on the course analytics here as well to review everything all at once. So that is all the assignments with their average scores to look at trends over time, or just see how students are doing. If you have other text or files that you want to upload to CopyLeaks, you do have that ability. So if I go under existing activity, you'll find the teacher scan tool option. You'll just need to add that one time to each course. And then here, oops, here I have an example of what that's going to look like. So really just an open link for you to upload text or files to CopyLeaks. You'll get the same report, just a different place that you're uploading it, and the students do not have access to this. So I can click Scan Documents here. I can click Scan Text. I can review my scan settings at the bottom here. So I can go back, Scan Documents, same thing, Scan Settings are at the bottom. If you want to upload documents, you can do up to 100 at a time. And then when I want to review the report, I just simply click on the arrow. On the side, you'll see your matching and your AI content. So this one here was 100% AI. You'll see at the top, 473 words were highlighted as AI. The darker highlighting means we have some AI insights to share. So you'll see on the side, Gen AI often overuses certain phrases, and these are what we have highlighted. So this phrase here has been found 19 times more in AI writing than human text. So you'll see that proportion on this side, which gives us an indication that we do believe AI is there. It's not the only thing that we look for, but it is one of the signals that it is very likely that AI is present in this text. So you'll see this one here has been highlighted, struggles and triumphs. The story begins with the central to the novel. These all have a high correlation of AI text that has written this. Yes, so there was a question about this feature. Yes, in this feature, you are doing the uploading of the text. This is not a feature that the students will be able to use. If you want students to be able to upload text, say before a due date, I would recommend allowing multiple submissions under assignments. Then they can submit a rough draft, get a CopyLeaks report, review it, and make changes. Otherwise, yes, this is only for the teachers, this specific tool.
When you mentioned making multiple assignments,
Mhm.
so if I have, because with our prior version, I would have one assignment and then students could upload multiple submissions to that assignment. And then each time they could see I would let them see their score.
Yep.
And so so with CopyLeaks, can I still have the one assignment and then have them have multiple submissions? Okay, I thought
Absolutely.
we could do that. Then when you just said multiple assignments, I thought I just want to make sure I understood. So they can
Oh,
have one assignment and then
yeah.
multiple. Okay.
If I said assignments, I apologize. I meant multiple submissions under one
Okay.
assignment. So if you've
All right.
created, I'll just go back here.
I may have misheard too. So I'm sorry. I thought, oh, I
All
just wanted to
good.
make sure.
All good. Yeah. So I'm going to go into this one here. I'm just going to confirm. I can go into edit assignment and allow multiple submissions. So this
Okay.
one has a max attempt of 7. So a student could conceivably submit 7 different times. They're going to get a score each time. Those 7 submissions will not be compared to one another, so they can review those and not have to worry about that.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
And for the AI detection,
Mhm.
how accurate is that?
Yeah, great
Because
question.
I've tried to take some of my student submissions actually and put it into ChatGPT and
Mhm.
ask, did ChatGPT create this?
Mm,
And I've not ever gotten a great answer.
yeah,
And I don't know if it's because they're actual original submissions or just partial AI.
I
So
mean,
I'm curious on the accuracy. Just
yeah,
curious.
I wouldn't use ChatGPT and ask if it wrote that, because what it is it's not an AI detector. There are other
No.
tools out there like ours, but ChatGPT is not one of them. But in terms of accuracy, our false positive rate is 0.2%. So
Oh,
that
wow.
means that 98.8% of the text that we're giving, or the scores we're giving, are accurate. We're always going to
Okay.
err on the side of caution. So it could be more likely that you'll find a false negative, meaning we did say no AI was found, and maybe the student has used some, than the opposite. So we are fairly
Okay.
certain in the scores we're giving you. That being said, it's never going to be perfect. The technology is
Right.
new and evolving, and a student might say that they earnestly did write something, and they might not realize they're using, say, a Grammarly tool or something else that is making their text look like it's AI to our detector. So we recommend using this and, taking it seriously, but also using it as a
Mhm.
conversation starter to have, to talk to the student and make sure they know what's allowed and what's not, and to be lenient with, say, allowing them to rewrite something or explain, what it is that they did. So we are really confident in the scores, but of course we want you guys to use your judgment as well.
Of course, thank you. No, 98.8%, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and I think maybe somewhere on here it might show it, but I do encourage my students to use Grammarly. And so
Mhm.
is there a way, because sometimes it just helps with small little corrections that make it easier for me
Mhm.
to not have to correct. But is there a way to show like this was probably using Grammarly versus written by some other AI tool?
Not right now. So
Okay.
with the AI sensitivity coming, you could move yours to the lower threshold, or the higher threshold, I should say, for AI. So if you want to give them leniency to use Grammarly, you might move the AI sensitivity down so we're not highlighting as much, and let the
Mhm.
students know that. But as of right now, there isn't a way for our AI detector to say, we believe
Okay.
this text was written by Grammarly versus ChatGPT. The LLMs
Okay.
are just too similar. Maybe one day
Okay.
we'll be able to. We know that that's something you
Mhm.
guys would love to see. But as of right now, no. The best we could do is those thresholds, which is going to be coming very soon, those sensitivity settings.
Okay. Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
of course.
Lena, a couple of quick questions. Can you hear
Sure.
me okay?
Yes, I can.
I had an existing slew of assignments and I went in and played around with them the other day when I got the SIU how-to guidebook. And I followed the CopyLeaks under existing assignments, not the
Mhm.
creating it from the original. When I went in to try to edit the title
Mhm.
after creating it, it said the system says can only be configured on assignment creation. It wouldn't allow me to edit the title. I had a typo in the title and it wouldn't allow me to edit it.
Yeah, I do know that it grays out the add to gradebook and the title when editing it. That might be a D2L limitation, because I don't know why it wouldn't, but I have that on mine as well. Can only be configured on the assignment creation. So apologies about that. It should only be the title and then the add to gradebook that gets kind of grayed out once you create the assignment.
Okay. Scroll down, if you would, to the date of submission or when it's due.
Mm-hmm.
I notice it's month, day, year sort of thing. And it
Mm-hmm.
also appears that you can add time to it.
Correct.
Is that like on a 24-hour clock?
Good question. I don't know. I think so. Looking at it, because there's no PM or AM.
Right,
So let's,
right.
let's see. Yeah, it's going to be on that 24 hours.
Okay. And last question, going back to the number of submissions that Bennett talked about,
Mm-hmm.
using turn it in that we used to have before. If a student saw, let's say, a certain percentage, which I set up, if you got a 10% or more plagiarism check, you can redo it. And how is this done in CopyLeaks? If I want the students to see their score, if it's above a certain percentage, they can go back and redo it. Do I have to then check multiple allowances or what?
Yep, you need to allow multiple. And what I
Okay,
would recommend is allowing them to see the score upon
right.
submission. So there isn't a specific threshold you could put, but yeah, you'd want to put in allow multiple submissions and allow them to see the report as soon as they submit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Before we move on, if nobody else has a question, I will chime in on a few just pedagogy things and specific to D2L. So I'll start with the specific to D2L. So the first thing is, do note that my understanding, unless it's changed, correct me if I'm wrong, Lena, but the max score for CopyLeaks, one thing that's already come up is 100, right? So if you tend to offer more points, you may have to adjust your assignments to account for that. The second thing is it does not go to the calendar. So if you are wanting to have this show up in the student's to-do or the calendar, you will have to manually add that to your D2L calendar. It will not take the date that's here and put that automatically into a student's calendar. Just want to make that clear. So is that correct on the 100 points? I just want to make sure on that.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. And then the other thing is, I think, just pedagogically thinking about how you want to use the tool, because it doesn't integrate as well with the assignments as Turnitin did. And so the workaround would be, if you're only going to scan, suspected submissions, the instructor tool is going to be your route, because then you can still use the assignments tool in the tool, have students submit papers that way, and then just download the students that you want to kind of check on. Otherwise, just do note that this is not going to integrate directly into the assignments. So that is a limitation, but those are our workarounds. Those are in the how-to guide as well. And then finally, I just wanted to mention just, pedagogy, to go to Benna's comment. One recommendation I might have is take your own assignment and run it through ChatGPT yourself, because they tend to produce the same types of language choices when responding. So you'll probably identify very common hyperboles and things that the GPT is putting out. And you'll be ready for that if you're looking at student submission. Also, research is showing that students who have autism and students who speak multiple language tend to get flagged more frequently. So do be aware that they may not be using a GPT. They just tend to write a GPT. So just a few things to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's a great point. In terms of those who are not native English speakers, oftentimes just because it is their second language, they might be flagged more. So just keep that in mind. And also great suggestion in terms of getting common answers from ChatGPT or other LLMs, just so you have that in your toolbox. Great suggestion. So the last thing I wanted to show you was our new AI assessment tool. So you already saw that in the assignment report where you can leave comments. One thing you do need to do is just add that, similarly to what we did with the teacher scan tool, to each course. So then that information is feeding over to the assessment tool. So you just click on this one time. You'd add that activity, and then you'll see it appear at the bottom like this, and you can review submissions that way. So you can review the reports here. You can click into specific assignments. You can review course analytics, or just simply go to the CopyLeaks report that a student has via Visit AI Assessment Report. So it's going to be the same report. It's just a newer feature that we enabled. So you'll just want to add that to each course so you have the full capability. Okay. So again, that's called our AI assessment overview. So that is something you're not going to be able to name, but the name of it under existing activity might be slightly different. But there is a how-to guide on our help center on how to add that if you need, and just additional resources in our help center as well. So I know that your team has created some information for you, but just really quickly, this is where you would go in our help center for additional information here. And lastly, there is a submit a request function at the top of the screen, as well as support@copyleaks.com. If you want a support email address just to have, that's going to be your last source of knowledge if you want to reach out to us and ask us about a report or a general CopyLeaks question.
Craig, and is it Lena? Am I saying it right?
Yep.
Go back to that previous screen that showed your help, your website.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, right there. I assume in Brightspace Instructor, there's more details about what you've been talking about, because this is a lot of information, almost information overload, unfortunately.
Yep.
And secondly, if I were to click on the link there that says for students, does that provide me a little bit more information as to what the student might expect to see and what the student might do?
Yep, exactly. You'll be able to see their view and what it's going to look like. Yeah, so definitely recommend reviewing the D2L instructor guide. It is a lot of information, so this will be, this will go through all of the steps with you and also give you some screenshots if you do need.
I just want to add here, this is also partly why we created the how-to guide, is that you're seeing the legacy view of D2L here, not the updated view. We use the new instance of D2L Lena. So I've sent a note over to your team, like, we're happy to let you guys take our screenshots. To be honest, you should update your website to include the new version of D2L.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, thank you for creating those. Yeah, your view is going to look a little different. So we will maybe take you up on that to upload the screenshots so that it's a little bit easier for you guys to follow.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I will say the student view is accurate. So I think
Okay.
for instructors, if they want to share with students what they might need in terms of help guide, that's a great idea, Pete. Definitely share that one. For you all, excuse me, use the guide that we provided you. I think that'll be easier.
So I want to ask, well, first, Lena, thank you very much for all the information. But I also wanted to ask, so where is the recording going to be placed so we can go over it?
So I'm going to send it to your admins, and then I'm not sure where, Craig, you guys plan to put it. So I think he'd be better at taking that question.
Yeah, it'll come out in our newsletter on Monday. So we send this to school directors every time CTE puts out anything of importance. We send it directly to school directors. If you're not receiving those, please ask your school director to pass those emails along.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And I do see one other great question about when we started building our internal database. So I don't believe that you guys have done a bulk upload of previous submissions. So if you have some that you want to do, definitely do that through our teacher scan tool. Otherwise, our database has many years of like other schools' submissions. But I don't believe you guys did a data transfer from your previous provider over. But you can always add those manually if you'd like.
Craig, one more question, perhaps more to you, with CTE and everything. It might be a good idea as an instructor, since this is brand new, at least to me it is, to maybe take on the role of a student, where I would have a paper or a report or something that the student might have, and I'd like to play, kind of a devil's advocate and go through the process of being the student, where I would submit it and CopyLeaks would take over, and I could review the report as a student, even though I'm the instructor, just trying to see what's going on. What's the best way to do that in D2L?
Well, this is not a D2L tool, so I think Lena would have to answer that question.
Okay.
How can you do that at all in CopyLeaks itself?
So it would have to do with if you are able to impersonate a student on D2L. So I know I'm able
We
to.
don't allow because of
Okay.
privacy and security reasons.
Gotcha. Yeah. So like in my case, I can view as a student here, but if you guys don't have that access, then the screenshots on our help center would be your best bet. Because if you're not able to switch that view over, it's based on your role in D2L.
I can switch to view as a student, but there's hardly anything there because I'm not a student.
Yeah, it
Gotcha. So
doesn't work for third-party tools so well, yeah.
yeah. So like I'll show you what it looks like on my side. So if I'm viewing as a student here, I can just see the assignments that I have access to submit to. And then you'll be able to see here, I've already submitted. You could see my submission at the bottom, but I could also submit your answers here and upload another file if that is allowed on this one. So this one might only have a one-time submission, but you can click submit your answers here and your submissions show on the bottom. That's what it's going to look like for students.
That's a great idea, Pete. So what I'll have JP do is create a impersonated student walkthrough, right? So that you can see that we have one that shows kind of from beginning to end what it would look like for a student.
That's helpful.
Anyone else before I let you go? All right. Well, thank you guys for your time and attention and your great questions. I'm going to make sure the recording is sent. Let us know if you need anything. Have a great rest of your day and weekend.
Thanks,
Bye.
Lena. Appreciate it. Bye.